Hello and welcome to Hallelujah Hour on LifeZone Television. My name is Tiffani Knowles, and you've seen me several times before on this network where we're broadcasting 24 hours, 7 days a week. And it's been great interviewing people from all different walks of life, music, entertainment, ministry. However, today we have a very special guest. This is a very special edition of Hallelujah Hour. I have the pleasure of interviewing Laolu Akande, and he is the executive director of the Christian Association of Nigerian Americans. And why do you think we are interviewing him today? Well, all over the news, all over social media, we know hashtag bring back our girls. Obviously, if you haven't heard of this, then you're hearing about it now. The abduction of over 200 girls from the northeast region of Nigeria. So we'd like to talk with Laolu about his impressions of our support here in the U.S. and how it is affecting our neighbors in other countries and in his native Nigeria. Welcome to the program today.
Thank you very much, Tiffany.
Welcome. Now, I'd like to just get a sense of what happened to those girls. We understand that they were in boarding school. They were stolen overnight. Now, who did the stealing, and what is the issue around this now a catchphrase, Boko Haram?
Right, thank you so much. On the night of April 14th, the students were in the dormitory, they were in the school sitting examinations, something close to the GED exams, something that is done once in a year. And what had happened was that they brought several students from several schools to this particular location, just because, of course, the terrorists have been attacking and harassing the state. So it was decided to bring everybody into one place. And so at the night, the terrorists came in military uniform. And they told the school authorities, the principal, that they wanted to take away the students so that terrorists would not attack them. And since they were dressed as soldiers, the principal said that she fell for that story, and they brought lorries. I think one of the victims has now said, how many lorries? Quite a lot of lorries. Let me just pick up a number, so I'm not sure. But several lorries were in the compound, and then they started herding them into the lorries. And before anybody could know what was happening, they had already made their way out, and it was just sufficiently late to rescue them immediately. They eventually found out that actually it was Boko Haram. It wasn't the military. So this was exactly what happened.
So this was Boko Haram, an extremist militant group who disguised themselves as official military.
Yeah.
And that was how they were able to be abducted, because it seemed odd that all of these girls could be herded off in such an efficient manner.
Yeah.
And it was because of the ruse that they created.
Yeah.
Now, who is Boko Haram? I need you to get a sense of what this group is all about.
Yeah, but Boko Haram is a terrorist organization that was formed, became more active. I think they were formed much earlier in the early 2000s, but became very active in 2009. And its leader, Yakubu, I believe, was killed. Yakubu Yusuf Mohammed, I'm sorry, was killed about that time, extrajudicial killing, because they had started, terrorizing the people. And after the death of his leader, after the killing of his leader in police custody, the group became really, really violent. And the mandates and what the group wants to achieve, as they have said in several video releases, is that they don't want Western education. As a matter of fact, Boko Haram means Western education is a sin. That's the meaning of Boko Haram. Western education is a sacrilege. So they don't want Western education in their society, and they don't want Christianity. They want to Islamize that part of the country and possibly Islamize the whole country. So they are after Christians because they connect Christianity with Western education. So this is what Boko Haram is. It's a terrorist group. It started as a group of extremist Islamic group, just avowing extremist agenda, and then it became really violent and became a terrorist. And they were the first one to introduce suicide bombing into Nigeria. Yeah, but before that time, where we've had all kinds of religious violence before, but not to the point of suicide bombing. Which I believe they introduced it in 2011, 2012 in Nigeria. Yeah.
So let's talk about that region of Nigeria. It is in the north, obviously,
yes.
And northern Nigeria is where most of the Muslim population is situated, I was told.
Well, yeah, the north is more predominantly Muslim, but part of the problem also is that Christianity has started to rise, and this group is not comfortable with that. We can go into other deeper issues, but let's take it.
So let's talk about Christianity really spreading throughout the country. When we think of Nigeria, most of us would call Nigeria a Christian nation, and we tend to feel that we've heard so many different churches that have boomed in that country. So a lot of us have that perception of Nigeria, but obviously there is a group of people in that country that want the country to be Islamized, as you said. What happens to the Christians normally who live near or within that region where they're mostly?
Yeah, exactly. Very good question, Tiffany. Nigeria is not a Christian country, but it's also not a Muslim country. It's a secular state, but you have in the north, Muslims are perceived to predominate, and then in the south, Christians might predominate, but you have a fair inclusion of Muslims. Some of us even grew out of Christian families that also had some Muslims as cousins. So in the south you have a more diverse set of people. But essentially, the problem has always been in the north, where the rise of Christianity has not been very, very much welcome. Up to the time that we are speaking now, it's difficult for somebody to get a certificate of occupancy to build a church in the north, anywhere in the north. Wow. Several of the churches have had to, form complaints in order to be able to get a plan to build a church, even up to now. Wow. So the resistance to the advance of Christianity in the north has always been a very fundamental issue. But what Boko Haram has done is to actually, take it to another level of despicable of violence. So Nigeria is a secular state. As far as the ordinary Nigerians are concerned, as we have seen in the south, both religions can relate together. People want to live together, but you have some extremists, some violent groups, who basically don't know what they're talking about, who want to Islamize the whole country and impose a strict form of Sharia. Yeah, Sharia laws. That's their idea, and they identify that Christians are the ones that will make that difficult. So they go against the Christians.
So they go against the Christians. But I mean, we've not seen any violence on the part of Christians going against these Muslim extremists. Have we seen any issues of that nature?
Certainly, there has been no organized form of violence by Christians, because the Christian leaders always making the point to their members, to their congregation, not to take the laws into their hands. There may have been, one or two instances where people sporadically, responded to defend themselves in the, when you see that the government is not doing anything. But the Christian leaders have always made a point to note that, Christians are not supposed to, take the laws into their hands. Right. And, so largely the Christians have been taking this, the heat, basically turning the other cheek.
Basically, but based on the teachings of Christ,
yeah.
I wouldn't see it any other way. Now, here's the question I have about the school, where the girls were abducted from. Was that school a Christian school? Was that school a secular school? What
Very
kind
good
of
question.
school
Very
was it?
good. Yeah. Now, Chibok, which is where the school is located, is a largely Christian town. We understand that about 80% of the residents in Chibok are Christians.
Okay.
So even though the school is a government school, but most of the residents in that town are Christians. And from some of the lists that we have been able to lay our hands on about the composition of the students on the list of those who were abducted, about between 80 and 90% of them are Christians.
So we see that it is a direct attack on the Christians.
Targeted.
It's very, very, very targeted. We see that now. All right, makes a lot of sense that we put everything together. Now, I want to hear about the families. How are the families being impacted by this? What are they doing over there in that region?
They're very distraught. You can imagine how sad, how disappointed, how grief there will be. The whole town is basically, helping flames. People are sad. There is a very high level of despondency. But the good thing is that the mothers of Chibok, they were actually the one that made this impact that we now have to be possible, because they simply refused that they wouldn't let this matter be swept under the rug. Because you must remember that all this uproar did not start until about maybe 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks after the incident.
This is true.
Yeah, the Nigerian government did not say a word. The president did not say a word for 3 weeks. It was unbelievable. It was only after the hashtag Bring Back Our Girls had actually become a global phenomenon that the president was forced to make a speech. So we have to credit the Chibok women for rising up and going to Abuja to march the capital of the country,
right,
to say that we want our girls back.
Well, here's my question then. Is this a common occurrence? Because it seems like so out of the ordinary. If the president wouldn't say anything for 3 weeks, is he used to things like this happening by the Boko Haram? Is that just a common thing?
Very, very unfortunate. Human nature is it's a very interesting thing. It is common that Boko Haram has been killing people. Just about 2 months before, they burnt down a school dormitory with 59 male students in it.
Wow.
Just about 2 months ago, and it blew over. Between 2000 and now, they must have killed about 4,000 Nigerians. So you can imagine how much the minds and the sensitivity of the whole country, the nation might have been so gotten used.
Right. They have become desensitized to the terrorist acts of Boko Haram.
And that's why I said that if not for the fact that the Chibok women insisted and marched on Abuja, this would have been just another, and then we'll be counting the number. There were days where they would kill 120 people in a day, 150 in a day, 200 in a day, 50 in a day. So, it's unfortunately, but thank God for those Chibok women. And thank God for the social media that took this out of the hand of everybody.
Definitely. And I want to get back to social media in a bit, but I want to just ask one other question about those girls. What has happened to them? We have heard that they were sold to become brides. Is that correct?
Well, some intelligence came up last week that suggested that maybe some of them have been married away for $12 a piece to some of the militants. And that, then the leader actually came up last week in one of the videos they released to say that he was going to sell them, that there's a market for selling humans, he was going to sell them. But then this week, Boko Haram released another video that showed about 100 or more of those girls together in one place. So at least we know that quite a number of them are still alive. And now he's talking about the possibility of actually giving them back in return for some of the terrorists that the government have arrested. Okay, and do you think that is, I don't know if that's a fair exchange. I mean, what does that look like? What's the government think about that? It's totally unacceptable. It's you don't negotiate with terrorists. So, and I think the president said, about a few hours ago that he was not going to do any swap with Boko Haram. Okay, now let's talk about how
has blown up all over social media as, hashtag Bring Back Our Girls. What we have heard is that, yes, it's a great movement. It has taken storm here in the U.S., in other countries, but we've heard from critics saying that it is not good to be on the bandwagon with this kind of social media campaign because it gives the U.S. the permission or the liberty to go over and to once again meddle in another country's affairs. What do you say to that?
Well, at this point, that would be basically armchair criticism. Look, we have more than 270 mothers, who are not happy today, who are sad, like anybody should be, who are worried, who are disturbed, who are troubled because government did not deliver on its duty to protect life.
You said 3 weeks after the fact.
Yeah, they were not going to do anything. So we're not going to reduce this to some kind of rhetoric and try to figure out, somebody is going to mess up with your sovereignty. Now, I hope and believe that the United States government has enough on its hand to have to meddle with anybody's sovereignty. But I will be willing to say, look, come and do whatever it needs to rescue those children, and then we can deal with other issues later. I mean, the humanity demands that whatever can be done within the limits of decency to rescue those girls should be done, and we shouldn't tie ourselves down by all kinds of theoretical or even whether empirical. We need whoever can help. Like the Nigerian government is helpless, and they don't make any pretense about their helplessness.
Helpless.
Yeah, they're helpless. They've shown themselves helpless. I mean, I don't want to go all out against the Nigerian government, but hey, look, this is a very desperate situation, and this desperate situation demands desperate solutions.
I would agree. So do you applaud some of the social media efforts like Michelle Obama holding up the sign and showing solidarity? Do you applaud those efforts?
Yeah, certainly. We are glad that after all, and the Americans woke up, to the reality. But nobody can claim that they are just knowing about these things for the first time. When we formed the Christian Association of Nigerian Americans in 2012, we brought the issue out. We showed the world. We did a video. We put it on YouTube. We went to Washington, D.C. We addressed the international press conference. We wrote letters to the State Department. And at that time they were arguing with us that Boko Haram should not be designated a foreign terrorist organization. It took almost 2 years. It took almost 2 years for them to agree that Boko Haram is a foreign terrorist organization. They said, "Oh no, these are just people because of poverty. That's why they are doing that. Let's just address the issue of poverty." So
all of the killings, all of the abductions, all of the burning of houses and schools, that wouldn't be called terror. That would be called a bunch of poor people.
In their very creative kind of logic, So we started the demand in 2012. They did not yield, and they were arguing. They were saying they wouldn't do it. They're not going to do it for all kinds of very, ridiculous reasons. Until November last year, after John Kerry took over, when Hillary Clinton was there for the whole time that we are asking. We didn't even get any serious
designation.
Yeah.
So the organization is now an official foreign terrorist
organization. Okay. And what that does is that it gives the United States government the tools and the legal right, because once the U.S. designates an organization as foreign terrorist, that means that the U.S. has said that this organization is against U.S. national security interest.
Right.
And if it is determined that a group is against U.S. national security interest, the U.S. has the legal rights to go after it. And we called for this in 2012. We believe that if this had been done, we would have curtailed Boko Haram by now. But anyway, we are happy that we are at this point. And that's why we are saying, look, don't bring any kind of academic debates here. If the U.S. can help us, the Brits can help us, if the Chinese can help us, if the French can help us, if the Israelis can help us, we need all the help to get the children back to their homes.
Wonderful. Now, what are you imploring Christians in America and all over the world to do? What's their part? What can they do I mean, I've heard people doing fundraising. I don't know if that's the answer. What is the answer?
What we want the people to do is to keep this issue burning until those girls are returned. Go out and rally. We've been holding rallies all over this country. We had one last week in Long Island, one in Manhattan. We're going to hold another one this weekend. One was held today in New Jersey. They had rallies in Los Angeles. We want people to keep the issue burning so that the U.S. will fulfill its promise. Thank God the U.S. has sent some experts there, but we want them to send special forces. Wow. That is the people that can do this job. It's a very delicate and sensitive job. So we need the American Christians and all people of goodwill to contact their congressmen, to contact their government officials, that we want the U.S. to use its skills, its knowledge, and its capabilities to rescue the girls. And of course, fundraising is not a bad idea, because these organizations that are doing the work also need money. And then we have a fund for the victims. We have what they call Boko Haram Relief Fund that we use to help the victims to relocate, to do medical surgery. We have a video on YouTube that tells the story of some of the victims that we have helped, because these victims they certainly need help, material help.
Well, that was one of the questions also. Do the victims, I mean, we know that they were attending a boarding school. Does that mean that the families have wealth, or were they the kinds of girls who still were
it's a government school, government boarding school. So it's not that these are people, not necessarily. You will find people who are, of course, sufficiently comfortable among them, and you will find people who are not as but the fact is that Boko Haram victims are all over the place. You can imagine between 2009 and now how many people they have killed. About 4,000. You have wives whose husbands have been killed. You have children who don't have parents anymore. They have needs. People have had to basically leave their towns because Boko Haram has raided the whole place. There are several Nigerians now who can no longer live in their towns. They're scattered all over Cameroon and Chad and all over the place. They need help. Some people have had to relocate because Boko Haram comes in and kills everybody in the family, leaves one person, that person can't live there again. You have to relocate them to another part of the country. You have to start businesses for them. You have to get small scale loans and stuff like that. There are a lot of material needs. And our association, the Christian Association of Nigerian Americans, actually our website is cananusa.org. We sent $50,000 to the victims last year through the Christian Association of Nigeria, just to help them, and that fund keeps going.
Awesome. Okay, well, now that we've kind of understood everything and we kind of have a plan of action, what else should we be doing besides the bringing awareness, spreading? Should there be some rallies that we would get behind, or is that an offense? Because I heard that some people have been starting rallies, but there wasn't any Nigerian representation, and so that there was some critique on that. I mean, why are you rallying for us? And what do you say about that?
Well, Nigerians are very they're coming up. Like I said, we had a rally last week Tuesday in front of the Nigeria House in New York. Okay. And Nigerians came out. We had one today in New Jersey. Nigerians came out. We had one on Sunday, Long Island. Nigerians came up, and all of these ones that I've talked to you about, they are organized by Kenya.
Great.
So Nigerians are coming out. We just need to get the word to them, and certainly their response have been quite encouraging, unlike before. Okay. This is a very important issue. It touches anyone that has milk of humanity in them.
Wonderful. All right, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you just really breaking down the issue and telling us all the details behind it. And we will definitely be in support of it. Can we just hear the website again?
Yeah, thank you. It's cananusa.org. That is cananusa.org.
Okay. We can offer our support with prayers. We can offer our support with funds. And these individuals are really finding the people who need the help, and they'll be able to target those funds accordingly. Well, thank you so much for watching the special edition of Hallelujah Hour on LifeZone TV. I'm Tiffani Knowles, managing editor of NEWD Magazine, and we're going to be doing our own special on the incident on Friday, on the Naked Truth. So you can watch us at newdradio.com. Listen in, chat in, call us, and tell us your opinions on it. We're going to be interviewing Philip Cameron he's the author of They Call Me Dad, a book about sex slavery. We're also going to be interviewing Kayode Akojeru, Nigerian gospel singer, really just to get a sense of what people who are in the community, the Nigerian community, thinking about it, and those on the outside, what are they thinking and doing as well. So until then, and until you see me again on Hallelujah Hour, once again, I'm Tiffani Knowles, and of course, different hairstyle, bring back our girls. All right, bye-bye, everybody.